Should we be reading very much into this delay? You just heard Kyle Bass say we should take it with a grain of salt, this delay of some of the tariffs.
Well, yes, good afternoon, David. Good to be here. I think there are a couple things we can draw from it. One is it's really the first time the president has admitted, although not expressly, but certainly implicitly, that consumers are paying for these tariffs, not China, as he's been saying all along. So he's worried about the consumer impact. I think Kyle was right about that. And they've worked hard to sort of divide the list into stuff that will have a more immediate consumer impact and stuff that won't. This is obviously some good news for consumers for the back to school and Christmas season, but it hardly resolves the long-term uncertainty about the impact of these tariffs and about both the impact on U.S. business as well as on consumers. I differ with Kyle somewhat. I think he's yielding not to the pressure of multinational companies. I think he's worried about a consumer backlash if prices suddenly go up.
As a trade negotiator, which you've done for many years now, should we read very much into the fact that there's been one telephone call already and I guess another one planned in 2 weeks? There was some concern about whether the talks would break down altogether. Is it a good sign that at least we will be talking about something?
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. The Chinese obviously are going to be discussing this in their party conference about what they should do now. What's their next move? Should they be meeting with the Trump trade team or not? And at the same time, the Trump administration is trying to figure out its next moves in light of what's happening in Hong Kong, for example. I think there is some linkage there, at least in the minds of people in the U.S. about our dealings with China. But I think, clearly both sides are still dug in their positions. I haven't seen this announcement to back off on the tariffs doesn't in any way indicate, a new kind of, concession by the Trump administration to the Chinese in order to get them back to the table. I think it's largely come just from domestic pressure.
So what does it mean if you're a CEO of a company, for example, a toy manufacturer, their stock was up a fair amount today, when it's on again, off again, on again, off again? How do you plan?
So this is the big problem, David, and you see this now, several stories out today about a number of analysts saying that the uncertainty that all of these steps, all these recent actions has created for business investment, for decisions about, where to locate your manufacturing, what to import and when and all that kind of stuff. It's leading now actually to maybe a number of companies cutting back on expansion, and that means fewer new jobs in the U.S. economy. And the long-term impact, the longer this goes on, the more corrosive it is in terms of business investment and the certainty that businesses need. We all want to see China move in the right direction and take necessary steps, but this has been a big gamble all along by the administration. You load a lot of tariffs on them in order to get them to change course, but what happens if they don't change course right away? How long do you go with something that is really harmful to both the U.S. and China, that is a protracted tariff war?